Hi, and thank you for visiting my channel. For more information, kindly subscribe and follow. Now let's get started.
Rhea Ripley's ex recently shared that the 28-year-old was upset about her WWE departure. Ripley will be defending her Women's World Championship against Io Sky on the Raw following Elimination Chamber 2025. The Eradicator and WWE interviewer Kathy Kelly have had a humorous online relationship in the past and have pretended to be a couple. Kelly departed the company in 2020 but made her return a couple of years later. A fan on social media shared a clip of Ripley giving the interviewer attitude 5 years ago, and Kelly responded with an interesting comment. She claimed that Ripley was mad at her because she had announced she was leaving the company a week before the interview took place. Rhea Ripley captured the Women's World Championship by defeating Liv Morgan on the January 6, 2025, episode of Raw. Morgan is qualified for the Women's Elimination Chamber match next month and could potentially earn a WrestleMania match against Ripley if she emerges victorious. Bill Apter comments on Rhea Ripley's upcoming title defense on WWE Raw. Wrestling veteran Bill Apter recently shared his thoughts on the Women's World Championship match between Rhea Ripley and Io Sky scheduled for the Raw after Elimination Chamber. Speaking on Sportskeeda Wrestling's Smack Talk show, Apter predicted that Ripley would retain the title, but the match would serve as a showcase for Io Sky next month. He also noted that it was a good strategy by WWE to have big matches on Raw to get people to tune in on Netflix. I think it's a great idea to draw people to Netflix, trying to keep that Netflix audience coming back every week for something special, and my prediction is Rhea retains the belt in what will be an excellent match that will showcase Io Sky more so than Rhea Ripley. 6:55 to 7:15. Charlotte Flair won the Women's Royal Rumble match earlier this month and selected WWE Women's Champion Tiffany Stratton as her WrestleMania opponent. It will be fascinating to see who will win the Women's Elimination Chamber match and go on to challenge Ripley for the Women's World Championship at the Show of Shows this April. The WWE Universe was shaken to its core when news broke that Rhea Ripley, one of the most dominant forces in the women's division, had decided to part ways with WWE. Fans, pundits, and fellow wrestlers were left speculating on the reasons behind her departure. However, in a shocking turn of events, Ripley's so-called ex has now come forward with stunning revelations about her emotional reaction to leaving the company she once ruled. A shocking departure. For years, Rhea Ripley was the cornerstone of WWE's women's division. She held multiple championships, engaged in legendary feuds, and became a defining figure of the Judgment Day stable. But as reports surfaced of backstage tensions, creative frustrations, and potential contract disputes, murmurs of her leaving became louder. When WWE officially confirmed Ripley's departure, the wrestling world erupted in disbelief. "I never thought I'd see the day," said WWE Hall of Famer Booker T on his podcast. "Rhea was on top of the world. This is massive." While many expected Ripley herself to issue a statement or at least a cryptic post on social media, she remained eerily silent. Instead, someone who claimed to be close to her, a former WWE superstar many believe to be Buddy Matthews, decided to break the silence. The ex speaks out. Although he didn't explicitly confirm his identity, the anonymous wrestler, believed to be Buddy Matthews, formerly Buddy Murphy in WWE, spoke to an Insider podcast about how Ripley took the decision and what went down behind closed doors. "She didn't want to leave," he said. "She fought it. She debated it for months. WWE was her home, and she loved it, but sometimes, loving something isn't enough when things aren't working out." The Insider went on to describe Ripley's emotional turmoil over the past few months, suggesting that she felt creatively stifled and undervalued. Despite being one of WWE's top attractions, she allegedly struggled with the direction the company was taking her character. She was dealing with a lot. The pressures of being a champion, the backstage politics, trying to keep the Judgment Day together, and then the injuries, it was all piling up. "She's one of the toughest people I know, but even she has a breaking point." Her last days in WWE. According to the insider, Ripley had a major disagreement with WWE's creative team about her future. She was reportedly pushing for a high-profile WrestleMania feud against Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, or even a shocking intergender match against Dominic Mysterio in a dramatic Judgment Day implosion storyline. WWE, however, had other plans, ones that Ripley didn't see as beneficial for her character. She wasn't going to be just another cog in the machine. She built something special, and if they weren't going to let her evolve, she wasn't going to stick around and be a shadow of her former self. The moment she made the decision to leave, however, wasn't easy. It broke her, the source revealed. She cried. She really did. And that's not something you see often from her. Rhea Ripley doesn't break. The Judgment Day reacts. One of the most pressing concerns from fans has been how her stable, the Judgment Day, responded to her exit. Damian Priest, Finn Balor, and Dominic Mysterio had grown incredibly close to Ripley both on-screen and off-screen, with Dominic referring to her as Mommy in a dynamic that captivated the WWE Universe. They were blindsided, the insider said. They knew she was unhappy, but no one expected her to walk away so soon. Dominic took it the hardest. There was a real bond there, not just for the cameras. They were like family. Priest and Balor reportedly tried to convince her to stay, with even WWE executives offering her a modified contract, increased creative input, and more high-profile matches. But by that point, her mind was made up. What's next for Rhea Ripley? As for what the future holds for Ripley, speculation is running wild. Some believe she could take a break from wrestling entirely, focusing on personal ventures and recovering both physically and mentally. Others predict a blockbuster move to AEW, where she could shake up the landscape of women's wrestling. There have also been whispers about a potential return to WWE in the future, should the circumstances align. She's not done with wrestling. Not by a long shot, the insider assured. But she's going to do it on her own terms. Rhea Ripley has always been a force to be reckoned with, and while WWE may be in her past for now, the wrestling world hasn't seen the last of Mommy. Wherever she goes next, one thing is certain, she'll do it with the same passion, fire, and intensity that made her one of WWE's most unforgettable superstars. I've drafted a detailed piece on Rhea Ripley's WWE departure, including reactions and possible future moves. Let me know if you want any refinements or additional details.